Okay, I guess I'll just get started here. Oh, I need to clap. So, you are taking part in an art project called We Don't Talk Anymore. And what I'm trying to do is create a virtual conversation that doesn't really exist. So, you are the first person, and so you get to hear my voice. I'm sitting right there. You can wave to me if you want. And so, what I want to try to do is create a conversation where a conversation doesn't exist. So I have in front of you a list of questions. You can pick that up and look at it. And for you, you've got an easy job. You get to pick a question and answer it, and then ask a question of the next person. So you get to choose which question you answer. So, yeah, go ahead. Good luck, and thank you.
All right. So number 14 says, have you ever faked happiness? What happened and how often do you do it? This one's hard because I feel like there's this thing my grandma always says where if you aren't happy, sometimes you have to fake being happy, basically. She says to choose joy. And so I've made this a practice. Okay, that sounds really bad. I've made this a practice of where if I'm not happy, maybe I fake it for a little while. And then after that, like, eventually I am happy, so it's not faking it. So maybe not so much anymore of having to fake it. So pretty often, but also now it's more real than it used to be. And I want you, whoever is next, to answer number 1, which is, do you respect yourself and do you like who you are?
Did I just start talking? Okay, so I was asked number 1, do you respect yourself? Do you like who you are? I think that's an inventory I've been taking recently. I would say that I have a set of standards that I pose on myself. I suppose just on a lot of it is based on the things that I've been able to do and the things I've been able to accomplish at the high points in my life. So when I'm able to accomplish something that I consider to be good or just beyond what I'm normally able to accomplish, then that I set as my baseline. So whenever I perform below that baseline, I feel as though I'm behaving or living below my potential. And so when I do that, then my self-respect tends to go down. And then, so I kind of push myself to live towards the limit of what I've been able to accomplish in the past. And if I don't, then I feel like I'm doing less than what I could or what I should do. So at least when I'm living close to that kind of baseline, that's when my self-respect is kind of high. Do I like who I am? Yes, actually, I do like who I am, especially taking into account who I used to be and the way I've grown and developed as a person. I'm very happy with who I am, and I'm excited to see who I'll become, but a lot of that is just a process of what I choose to do between now and the future. So that would be my answer to question number 1. And for the next person, I would ask question number 5. Do you love your mom or your dad more?
I'd have to say I love my mom more if I had to choose. I love them both a lot, but my mom was in my life more. I spent more time with my mom. She was the one that planned all the big activities, all of our road trips. She was the main person. But my dad tends to show love more. He is a hugger. He's more expressive about the way he feels. But I could see the way my mom loved me more in her actions and how she raised me and how she interacted with me and my siblings. And then the next person, I'm going to ask the question, number 10, what does it sound like inside your head?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think that there's a lot going on in my mind, I guess, inside my head. But generally, I feel like there are more questions than answer in my head. I feel like they they are there all the time, and there are questions like, what am I gonna do in the future? What else is to do? How can I improve? What's gonna happen in my career? I think like there are a bunch of questions in my head, and sometimes I try to answer them, but the more I search for answers, the more I find out that there are more questions. So yeah, it's like, I guess it would be like a party. I guess there's a party inside my head. So yeah, and the next question that I would like to ask would be, how do you feel about your body?
Well, that's a good question. Um, I've had different opinions during my life. Like, I think right now, how I feel about my body is that it's it's allowing me to do the things that I need to do, and I know that my body right now is not perfect, but it is perfect for what I need. I feel like a lot of people have different challenges, and for me to have a healthy body is something that I love and I will always appreciate. And my question would be, have you ever faked happiness? What happened? How often you do it?
Ooh, that's hard. Okay, have I ever faked happiness? I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty happy person most of the time. I think everyone has faked happiness. I mean, I've definitely faked it, but I don't think there's been a specific time that I can remember. Maybe just like being in a group setting when I just was having like a down day and just not feeling it. Faking happiness definitely happens. I don't think I do it often because, again, I'm just a pretty happy person, genuinely. So, yeah. But my question is, do you love your mom or dad more?
I can just go ahead? Okay. That's a hard question. I don't love one of my parents more than the other. I can't answer it in that way, but I love them equally just as much. But I do go to them for different things. So, for example, my mom and we have a really strong connection with, like, we bond over certain things that, I'll go to my mom for advice, I would say, about, like, I would probably go to her for, like, about boys or dating, something that we might, connect on a level of trust in some sort of matter. And then my dad, I would go to for, issues about or problems with a car or how to change a tire, stuff like that. Yeah, I love both my parents equally. So yeah, I don't love one of them more than the other, but I love them both so much. Okay. All right, let's see. The question I have, let's do... Okay, we're gonna do, what does it sound like inside your head?
Oh, I answer? Oh, okay. I guess I tend to overthink a lot in my head. I always kind of back down from a lot of things because I always think that it's never going to work. I can be kind of pessimistic sometimes. But I can also be very optimistic in how things go in life. I guess in my head, I right now I'm thinking a lot about the future. I'm thinking about what I want to do, what I want to become, who I want to become, and I'm really thinking a lot spiritually. And so, but yeah, that's what it sounds like in my head. A lot of overthinking and a lot of the future. And a question I want to ask is, when are you most likely to hold back your true emotions?
Okay, so my answer to that question is I think wherever I have to be vulnerable. It's so easy to hold back your emotions when it means showing weakness or showing that you're not good at something. So I think I always like to put on like this tough face that everything's good or that I'm good at everything because I don't like to seem like less or disappoint people. So that's probably when I hold back my true emotions, is when it makes me look weak. And a question that I want to ask is, how do you feel about your body?
I feel like it's very hard because we're usually like trained to like compare ourselves to other people. So sometimes I do catch myself comparing to other people, but then I realize like, no, my body helps me do so many things. Like it helps me get to places where I want to be. It helps me hug people I love. It helps me do everything I want. So why hate my body when I can just love it instead and take care of it? So I feel like I love my body and I want to become the best version of me. And a question I have is, are you afraid to bring children into this world? Why or why not?
I think sometimes I am kind of afraid to have kids in this world. It's kind of scary how quickly everything is changing. But I have confidence that I will choose an eternal companion who will support me and will have like views, and that as we work together to bring our children into this world, that we'll be able to give them all the tools that they need to be able to navigate.